Disclaimer: I have used statistics from England and Wales, which I'll be referring to as the UK in this video for brevity. I find it reasonable to apply these statistics and believe they are valid assertions due to the fact that both the US and the UK are Western first world countries with few, if any, drastic general lifestyle differences. The arguments often used against the procedure and often used in favour of overturning Roe v. Wade can be debunked by the UK and its data as a country with free healthcare, ergo easier access to the procedure. The statistics are percentage-based and therefore population size does not factor into them nor skew the results. Those who overturned Roe v. Wade make assumptions based on the women, the circumstances of them undergoing the procedure, and the effects of it, and what it means for wider society if allowed to continue. The UK, on the other hand, acts as a living counter-argument to their claims, even invalidating them based on extraneous variables, such as universal healthcare, as I previously mentioned before. For example, one argument against the procedure is that it's used as a contraceptive. However, in the United Kingdom, the data does not reflect this, and also it's even more unlikely in the US on the basis that they do not have free healthcare. Anybody who read the title of this and decided to unsubscribe, don't let the door hit you on the way out. Supreme Court overturns Roe v. Wade, ending 50 years of federal yeetus the fetus right. I hate YouTube so much I can't talk about serious topics without substituting some of the sensitive words, and it makes the entire topic sound like a joke. Roe v. Wade was a law that ensured that yeetusing the fetus was a constitutional right within America. It is no longer a constitutional right. Congratulations, America, the land of the truly free. In case you guys are wondering about what my views are on yeetusing the fetus, for sure I will now refer to it as YTF. My views on it are aligned with the law of the United Kingdom, which states YTF can occur up to 24 weeks, and only can happen after 24 weeks if there is a risk to both the mother and the unborn child. I made a thread on Twitter explaining my views on YTF and why it's absolutely ridiculous that people think that a fetus is the same as a fully formed, thinking, feeling human being, but I thought I'd put it into video form. Feel free to show this video to any pro-lifers in your life that really need to get a reality check. Grounds for YTF. There are currently 7 different grounds in the United Kingdom for having a YTF. Ground A, that the continuance of the pregnancy would involve a risk to the life of the pregnant woman greater than if the pregnancy were terminated. Ground B, that the termination is necessary to prevent grave permanent injury to the physical or mental health of the pregnant woman. Ground C, that the pregnancy has not exceeded its 24th week and that the continuance of the pregnancy would involve risk greater than if the pregnancy were terminated of injury to the physical and mental health of the pregnant woman. Ground D, that the pregnancy has not exceeded its 24th week and that the continuance of the pregnancy would involve risk greater than if the pregnancy were terminated of injury to the physical or mental health of any existing children in the family of the pregnant woman. Ground E, that there is a substantial risk that if the child were born it would suffer from such physical or mental abnormalities as to be seriously handicapped. Ground F, to save the life of the pregnant woman. Ground G, to prevent grave permanent injury to the physical or mental health of the pregnant woman. I'd also like to add that over the last few years, numbers and percentages have remained pretty much the same, and therefore the plandemic hasn't had much of an effect on this. Which leads to argument number 1. Marital and relationship status, aka they're using YTF as a contraception for one-night stands. Again, these numbers and percentages have remained relatively the same, and therefore staying indoors and not being able to go out to clubs and parties haven't affected these statistics. 81% of women receiving YTF were single in their marital status, but 51% of those unmarried women reported having partners. Meaning, most likely, this happened with their own partners, especially in 2020, when we weren't allowed to go out and meet new people. For women who had a YTF in 2020, 42% had had previous YTFs. So this isn't the majority of all women undergoing YTFs. 58% of those who went under a YTF in 2020 had 1 or 2 pregnancies that resulted in a live or stillbirth, whereas 22% had previously had a miscarriage or ectopic pregnancy. This is indicating that perhaps repeated YTFs might have something to do with the medical history of the person undergoing the YTF. I don't know. But the stereotypical view is that, oh, it's young people going out and doing things without protection and then using it as a contraception. Actually, younger people, specifically under 18s, the number of those having repeated YTFs have gone down in the last few years, which follows the trend of previous years as it's decreased even more. On the flip side, those who are over the age of 30 having a repeated YTF in 2020 has increased. While 30 is seen as the ideal age to get pregnant and start a family, as you get older, the risks with pregnancy also do increase. And it just says over the age of 30. It doesn't specify whether it's 30, 35, 40, 45. It's just over 30s. So some of the complications that we've just gone over may be a contributing factor towards why people who are over 30 had a YTF when they've also had previous YTFs. Get on to point number 2. They're yeeting unwanted babies. 98.1% of YTFs occurred under ground C, that the pregnancy has not exceeded its 24th week, and that the continuance of the pregnancy would involve a risk greater than if the pregnancy were terminated of injury of physical or mental health of the pregnant woman. 0.4% happened under ground D, that the pregnancy has not exceeded its 24th week, and that the continuance of the pregnancy would involve risk greater than if the pregnancy were terminated of injury to the physical or mental health of any existing child/children of the family of the pregnant woman. What does that mean? It means that 98.5% of YTFs happened before 24 weeks, which is the legal limit for the United Kingdom. Why is that? Because after 24 weeks is when electrical signals begin firing off in the brain, preparing the fetus to be able to think and feel later on in life. A lack of electrical signals in the brain demonstrate that somebody is medically dead. It's why life support machines are turned off if it's evident that there are no more electrical signals in the brain, even if they are able to breathe and their heart is still beating with assistance from medical devices. Most YTFs happened before 24 weeks, meaning that the fetus is not medically alive and therefore you cannot end the life of something that isn't alive. It's like trying to fight for the right for a cadaver to have quality of life. They're dead. They can't have a quality of life. It's not going to happen. 1.5% occurred under ground E, that there is a substantial risk that if the child were to be born, it would suffer from such physical or mental abnormalities as to be seriously handicapped. Many of these people wanted to have a baby but terminated for their own health and safety, the health and safety of the fetus, and the health and safety of their family. So we've tackled the unwanted fetus problem, but let's delve a little bit more into yeeting babies and have a look at gestation period. 88% of YTFs were performed under 10 weeks. Here is a picture of a 10-week-old fetus. It can't think, feel, nor survive outside of the womb, and as previously established, is not medically alive. 6% of YTFs occur between 10 to 12 weeks. Pretty much the same, not much has changed development-wise. 1% of YTFs occurred at 20 weeks. Again, this is what a 20-week-old fetus looks like. Also, still can't think or feel, and only 0.1% occurred after 24 weeks. And as we've established, this is the legal limit, and therefore the only reason that this would have happened is because the pregnancy or birth would constitute a threat towards the woman and or fetus. This is the absolute minority of YTFs. And I think my last point will be the horrific fear-mongering imagery that pro-lifers give to women, that they'll be taken into a surgical room and be cut up and have their baby taken out of them. 85% of YTFs are medical, meaning a drug is taken to induce a miscarriage, such as mifepristone. These can only be used up to 9 weeks of pregnancy. It causes something that is akin to a heavy period. The other 15% are surgical, which includes stopping the fetus's heartbeat, the use of a suction pump or forceps. And remember, 99.9% of the time, the fetus cannot feel a thing. And the other 0.1% of the time is because it is dangerous for the pregnancy to continue. These are my arguments based on science and statistics, so if any counter-arguments include God, Jesus, or the Bible, then you've lost me. I think it's disgusting that women are the ones being punished for a situation that takes two to tango, and in some circumstances is non-consensual to begin with. What if you put a mandate in for men to get vasectomies if they don't want to have children because contraception can fail? Or would that be taking away your right to freedom of choice with your body? Ironic, isn't it? This is one of the few times that I'm happy to be in the United Kingdom because I have easy access to healthcare, I have free contraception available to me, and if I'm ever put in a situation where I have to make a choice, at least that choice is there for me. There's really not much else I can say. I'm really sorry that this has happened to the people of the United States. It's all about freedom when it comes to your bodies, when it's to do with vaccines and masks, but as soon as women are brought up, it's interesting that. Anyway, I hope I'll see you guys in the next video if you're still here. I'm really sorry this was a darker topic, but I feel really passionate about this. And I'll see you soon. Bye.